All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. This is the IDW Artist Editions and More panel for our friends at WonderCon and Comic-Con, of course. I want to introduce you to Mr. He needs no introduction, but he's the infamous Scott Dunbier, Director of Special Projects at IDW, responsible for every great, giant book you've ever seen us make. So Scott's going to have all sorts of things to talk about during this next 45 minutes or so. We've got a couple special guests, too. So, Scott.
And let me introduce you, Mr. Dirk Woods, who's the, I don't even know what your title is, Dirk.
Nobody does, Scott.
But Dirk is the coolest man in comics. There's no question about it. He has a sideline. He actually does Tom Waits imitations. He'll do voiceovers when Tom Waits isn't available.
I wish I was that cool, but thank you, Scott. Anyway, we can jump right into it because we do have some special guests that are going to pop up, and it's going to be interesting. Please bear with us as we figure this out, this whole virtual new world. But we'll have to work through some kinks, but we've got some cool art to show you guys, some cool guests are going to be jumping in. So you want to talk some artist editions, Scott, to get us going?
Sure. Actually, the book that I want to talk about first is not an artist edition, but it'll have scans of some beautiful artwork. The great Darwin Cook, who died much too soon, did the Parker series of graphic novels for IDW. We released ages ago, it seems, the first Martini edition that had the hunter and the outfit. We are now going to be doing the Martini edition Last Call. That'll have the score and sleigh ground, as well as tons of additional material. This is a study he did of what Parker might have looked like. Obviously this is Burt Lancaster as a model, and then just tons and tons of beautiful drawings. It's going to be a great companion piece to the Martini edition, same size, same format with the slipcase, and the design on the book is by the great Sean Phillips, and Ed Brubaker will be working with me on the text of the book and putting it all together. And there will also be a brand new, never before published story by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This is the first page of it, and this is the second page of it. Something definitely bittersweet. And Abby Westlake, who was married to Donald Westlake, who wrote under the name Richard Stark and did the Parker novels, loves this story. Obviously we couldn't do it if she didn't. Then we're going to talk about some artist editions, and one that is going to be coming next year is Bertie Wrightson's Frankenstein, which is something that I'm thrilled about. It's taken a little bit longer than I was hoping, but there's just so many times you get a chance to do a book like this, so it's got to be done right. But Wrightson's work on Frankenstein is his magnum opus. Just gorgeous, gorgeous work. Then we have Dave Cockrum's X-Men Artifact Edition, which has tons and tons of work from Cockrum's first run on the X-Men. There are also lots of unpublished drawings in this. This is a page from Giant Size X-Men #2 that was never published. There are a couple of pencil pages from it. There's also going to be a variant edition, and this is the cover for the variant. It's a virgin cover. It's a wraparound, like the John Byrne one we did last year. And Chris Claremont wrote a really, really wonderful introduction, and he also did signatures on the signature plates. And this book is printed. It's on its way in a container ship from Asia and should be in our warehouse in about a month.
Right.
And we're also coming out with the Micronauts by Michael Golden, written by Bill Mantlo. This is a piece that's unpublished. That's in the book. Lots of really cool stuff. This is the variant cover. There is a variant edition. You might recognize that piece of art on the back cover. That's the corner box art that Golden did. And this one also will have a signed and numbered version by Michael Golden.
So Scott, on that particular book, I know that, why don't you talk a little bit about the genesis of how it came to be? Because I know that, Micronauts and ROM were always so complicated with Marvel and Hasbro and all that. And I know you and Chris Ryle and everybody else worked on this for years. How did it come to pass?
It was something that was one of those books that, we all wanted to have happen, and Marvel and Hasbro wanted it to happen, but, there were legal complications, and eventually they were worked out, thank goodness. So the book is going to be coming out eventually. It's completely done and designed and at the printer. It's just a matter of it being finalized and approved to print.
Yeah. It's funny. So a lot of, you and I, like a lot of the books from the artist edition line, I hit automatically into my sweet spot in terms of stuff I grew up with, like Cockrum's X-Men. I loved it. I was a little old for a lot of the Micronauts, Transformers, things that a lot of our compatriots are super into. I was a little too old, but Micronauts is one that caught me just as, like, I was just becoming too old for it, and the Michael Golden stuff caught me. And like, I wasn't a fan of the toys, but I was gripped by the comics. So what is that, and a portion of this goes to Bill Mantlow's care. Is that correct? I think
That's right. There's a percentage of the signed and numbered version that is going to the care of Bill Mantlo, who has been in assisted living for, oh God, I don't even know how long, more than 30 years. He was the victim of a hit and run. And his brother, Michael, had been taking care of him, handling his affairs. He actually just passed away a couple of days ago, unfortunately. But yeah, Bill Mantlo is definitely a beloved artist from this period, and this is one of the things that people really love about his love of the work he's done.
Yeah. Well, that's an exciting slate of artist edition stuff. In terms of when it's going to be released, I think that we're all figuring this out together in terms of there's been the announcements about Diamond cranking back up and the comic shops getting back in business. But I think we're also going to be releasing things at a reasonable, smart rate, so as everybody gets back online. So I assume there'll be announcements forthcoming about when these books are going to hit.
We have the EC Artist Edition with covers, Artist Edition with more than 130 covers, as well as the just announced Jim Lee X-Men Artist Edition that'll be coming out later on this year as well. And that will have the complete art to X-Men #1 by Jim Lee from the early 1990s, which is still the best-selling comic of the modern era. It's sold more than 8 million copies.
I was going to say 4, but it's twice that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jim's been doing some pretty extraordinarily great stuff in terms of helping out retailers with the sketches he's doing and all that stuff.
He has. He's done, I think, more than 25 of them now, and they're going crazy. For comic relief, he's had a lot of people jump in to help him as well. Jeff Campbell, Art Adams, Sam Keith. Yeah.
No, it's great. That's and then the EC. All right, who's your favorite EC cover artist?
I'm a big Wally Wood fan, but there are so many. Wally Wood, Jack Davis, Graham Ingalls. I guess one of my favorites is Harvey Kurtzman. Kurtzman's
I love Kurtzman.
War covers. Yeah, his War covers and the Mad covers. Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important comic artists of all time.
Yeah.
A couple of nice covers by Al Williamson. There's a nice Frank Frazetta cover that's in there too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. And it'll be a nice addition to all the. Are there any other EC books you're thinking about doing? I know you can't necessarily tell everybody, but.
Yeah, I've been accumulating more complete stories. I'm hoping to get another Best of EC book out in the next couple of years. I just got another 4 or 5 stories recently that are fantastic, beautiful stories.
Great. Mm-hmm. All right. We've got a special guest joining us shortly. How much time? A couple of minutes. We can treat this like a Q&A scenario, if you want, until we get the surprise guest jumping in.
Sure.
All right, you get this question at every panel I've ever done with you, so I might as well be the one to ask you now. What is your great white whale? What is the book that you want to do that you've had the hardest time getting together?
The hardest one that I've done, or that I've,
or the one that you would most like to see happen that may or may not even be possible?
you know, I'm a big Jack Cole fan, so I'd love to see a Jack Cole Plastic Man book, but that's pretty much impossible. There are only 4 pages that I know of that exist. I'd love to do a Mobius book. I'd like to do a Tintin book, a Hergé book.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'd like to do an Akira book by Otomo. Yeah, there's a ton of them.
Oh yeah.
How about you? What would you like to see?
Oh God, more Kubert. Just keep the Kubert coming. That's a good question. I hadn't thought about it. Let me think about this during the panel. Maybe I'll come up with something. Boy, more Bernie. Although that Bernie book is so great.
I'd like to do another book of Bernie stuff, especially the Warren material and the Captain Stern stuff. You know, that first Captain Stern story did for heavy metal was just,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
A loving tribute to Wally Wood and Mad Magazine.
I'd like to see more books by the gentleman who's going to be joining us here in a minute.
Hey, guys.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the great Walter Simonson, who is known for doing a million different things. You know, I mean, everything from Manhunter to Batman, Thor, Alien. He and Archie Goodwin adapted the original Alien movie. It was a bestseller on the New York Times. First time that ever happened for a graphic novel. Orion, and more recently for IDW, Ragnarök, which is Walter's take on what happens after Ragnarök with Thor.
There you go.
Yeah.
But,
thanks for coming, guys.
Very good. This is your life, Walter.
Oh no.
And here we have Ragnarök #4 cover. Walter, I'm going to scroll through just a couple of things, and then we can just talk about Ragnarök a little bit.
Okay.
Issue 5 is going to be coming out. I'm not sure when. Dirk, do you know exactly when that's going to be?
Boy, I would lie and say yes, but that's probably been paused sort of by the whole fiasco. Yeah. So maybe I'll do a little research while we're on this particular.
Yeah, I got my comps, but I kind of assume the actual books are sitting in the basement of a warehouse somewhere waiting to go out.
Right.
When they have someplace to go.
And this is the cover to #6. #6 is also all done, all drawn, ready to go. It's being colored right now. And then a couple of beautiful pages by Walter.
Thank you.
So Walter, this is the 3rd story arc of Ragnarök.
That's right.
How far do you envision this going? I mean, and please know that I'm happy to keep it going forever. But,
well, it doesn't go on forever. I have a definitive ending in mind, but I probably have several more story arcs I would like to get in. I'm hoping we sell enough copies to be able to accomplish that. The next story arc coming up is going to be Thor going into Jotunheim after the Frost Giants. So, and then in the meantime, Surtur is still plotting behind the scenes to do as much damage as he can and catch Thor and kill him. Jormungand, the world serpent, remains to be dealt with. And we haven't said very much so far about Fenrir, the great wolf, enemy of the gods and child of Loki's. But I have something quite specific in mind for Fenrir that would be in combination with a couple of other at least one other story arc. So we'll have to see how that works out. But I hope to do at least 3 more arcs, maybe 4, but we'll see. 3 might do it, but maybe 4.
Okay, just keep them coming. So,
well, thank you.
So, just sort of a fanboy question. You know, we get occasional emails and letters from people asking about a Thor Ragnarok and the Mighty Thor crossover. would that be something that if the stars aligned, would you be interested in doing something like that?
If I could do it with Thor as he was when I did him for Marvel, I would do it. I think for the current Thor, I'm not as interested. I don't have an emotional connection to what the character has become in a way. I mean, it's neat that they've done it. Characters have to evolve over time. I don't want them to be doing the kind of Thor I did 35 years ago. But if I were to do them again, that's probably what I would go back to. But it'd be fun to do. I would love to do a story with the two of them together.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Free edition.
Yep.
That'd be great. Hey, I just got word. The Ragnarök #5 will be out on June 3rd.
Oh, okay. Let me write that down because that way I can post that on Facebook. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
June 3rd it is. Rag 5. Okay, good. I'll put that up when we're done.
And hopefully not too far later, #6.
I hope so. Out of my hands. I'm done.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't know if the pandemic slowdown is what we all sort of wanted, but it caught a few books up out there.
Well, it was weird. I mean, I lucked out in that I literally got the last page of Ragnarök about Breaking of Helheim #6 done right before everything shut down. And I find since the shutdown, I'm still doing drawings. I'm still doing stuff, although not so much. Like I owe a lot of people drawings. So I'm doing some of those drawings to catch up. I mean, some of them are for friends. Some of them I'm going to be doing a cover for Kona, King of Monster Isle, the old Sam Glanzman comic that's being reprinted. And that's just, hey, it's dinosaurs and cavemen. How can I not do that? But there are some things of that sort. And I reach over my drawing board. This is a Xerox. I don't know how much you can see on the camera. That's a Xerox. This is a drawing for a friend of mine. It's just a gorilla. He sent me some books a while back. And like if that's centered, yeah, I guess I have it centered pretty much. He sent me some books a while back. So that was my structure drawing. I found that I drew the head a little too small, so I just Xeroxed it up, taped it over the drawing, and then re-Xeroxed it. It's the right proportion now. So now next thing I'll do is put drawing paper over it and pencil it up and ink it. But I find I'm working at about a third speed right now. I mean, all the drawings I've got to do, a lot of them I've had to do for a while, but they don't have deadlines the way real work has deadlines.
Right.
And so somehow, yeah, it just takes a while to kind of get that stuff out. So, but I've done several, well, here's another one. I don't know if you guys can see this. Is there enough light here? Wait a minute. Let me try this. I don't know if that'll make it any easier to see than that. It's it's Marvel's Thor from back in the day.
Sure.
For a friend of mine. I've got some other drawings as well I've been working on. So I'm trying to get those done. Right now what I'm trying to do is pencil 5 or 6 or 7 of them. Then I can sit down and ink all of them at one time, well over a couple of days probably. But I do find I'm working just more slowly than I do when we're, yeah. I know it's hard to believe, Scott. I realize that. But I do feel like I'm working more slowly, getting a drawing done here or a drawing done there. A drawing easily I could do it in a day, and I'm taking 2. So that may be that. And I feel like napping a lot, but that could just be because I'm old. I may be wrong. That may be what's going on there. But it does feel like everything is kind of slowed down at the moment, waiting for things to kind of open up again.
I get it. It's amazing how exhausting this whole thing is. Just
it is
daily life.
We can have a phone conversation, or we can go back and talk about IDW. I don't mean to slow you guys down. Sorry, folks.
No.
I will tell you this. I would watch the show, Walter, of you just bringing up drawings from your table. And just we could do that all day. But
oh, don't say that. We'd be doing all that stuff. Well, one thing I have found, I don't know about how it's true for you guys. Well, it wouldn't be for Scott because it'd be very different. I don't know about Dirk. Is that our lives have not changed a whole lot because of the quarantine. I mean, we're home anyway, all drawing or writing or whatever. We're mostly home, right, and are mostly together, even if in different parts of the house. So, there is a different attitude when you realize, oh yeah, it's late in the afternoon. We can't go out to the restaurant and get a bite to eat, and you have to sit here and stay home and fix food at home.
Right.
And so that part of the attitude is different, and maybe that's more exhausting than even if you don't go out. When you can, you always know you can escape.
That's
So,
right.
right now, not so much.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yep, we will.
But well, Walter, if you're having trouble with deadlines in this, I can just do what I do normally and just call you up and tell you to get to
And
work.
give me a hard time.
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
All right. I'll
Go
start
for it,
calling you
pal.
tomorrow. Although I
Right
am
on.
looking forward to getting the synopsis, the overview for the next arc.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Yep. I'm working on that now. I've got that one. I still have a lot of moving pieces. I haven't quite locked into place yet.
I know.
But I have figured out a really cool subplot that I will tell you, but not until we actually can turn this off. I don't want to spill the beans in advance. But I have a subplot that I think is going to actually turn out quite well. So we'll see how that goes.
All right.
Awesome. Well, keep them coming, Walter. I mean, it's
Thank
for
you,
my
sir.
money, it's the best book on the stands.
Oh, well,
For a
thank you.
couple of years now.
All right. Well, thank you, Dirk.
So let me just introduce John Layman, who is the Eisner Award-winning writer and creator of Chew, co-creator of Chew. I used to work with John. He was an editor at Wildstorm. Before that, you worked for the Union Tribune here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And you've written tons of comics for a bunch of different publishers. You've done a bunch of stuff for IDW, including Mars Attacks and all sorts of stuff. So
Godzilla, Scarface.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of my favorite books are with IDW.
Mhm.
That's going to continue.
Yeah, if I have anything to say about it, absolutely. And John is doing a new creator-owned book with us, and he's writing. It's called Bermuda. It's being drawn by Nick Bradshaw, who also did some work with us at Wildstorm. He did a couple of miniseries of Danger Girl a long time ago. And,
Yeah, that was his first stuff, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the cover to Bermuda #1. It is drawn by Nick Bradshaw, who is a great artist and the bane of colorists everywhere. This is the first time you see Bermuda inside the book. Just gorgeous art. And there's
Yeah, look at
color.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Color by Lynn O'Grady.
Yep. And who I was just talking to a little while ago. Gorgeous double page spread, just insane.
Look
And
at
then
that.
here it is in color.
Oh my God.
One thing I got to say about this book, when John and I started talking about it, we wanted to do something that was fun. A book that really everybody could enjoy. And this definitely fits that criteria. This is the cover to #2. John, you want to tell us a little bit about the book?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, fun is kind of the operative word, and I almost hate to say YA because sometimes that's a kiss of death in comics, not in bookstores, but it can be enjoyed by everyone, and it's not a little kid's book, but there's nothing super gory or super profane. It is kind of from the school of Commandy or Tarzan, and it's an island in the Pacific, and everyone who goes through the Bermuda Triangle and gets lost ends up there. And so you've got pirates, and you've got army guys, and vacationers and boaters, and then all manner of crazy creatures. And this girl Bermuda, her parents washed up there 15 years ago, and the mom was pregnant, and she was raised there, and she's kind of a jungle girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. And she's 16 years old?
Yeah, 15, 16, yeah.
Right. And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but that isn't the only portal. There are portals that are in other places also. In the world?
I mean, the first mini is 4 issues, and we really just kind of introduced the island. But I've got I've got a lot of stories, and I would hope that we can return for several minis, and the world will just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
So cool.
So what do you think about Nick's artwork on this, working with him? You've never worked with him before, so...
No. I mean, Nick, was a guy who I always loved and kind of never thought I would get to work with. And then when you kind of match made us, I jumped at the chance. And yeah, Nick has been phenomenal and someone that I've loved for a really long time, and he just keeps getting better.
Yeah, no, all the time, all the time.
And I tried to write to his strengths, and I know that he's real good at monsters and foliage and well, there's kind of nothing he's not good at. So we've got some tech in there, we've got action. I hope he's having fun. It sure looks beautiful.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I'm looking forward to it coming out. It's been postponed because of the pandemic, but it'll come out at some point, and it'll be nice because we'll have it all done when it comes out.
Yeah, and it'll be beautiful beyond belief. We can at least guarantee that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And also a really entertaining, good story.
Yes.
Yeah, John, so I think you mentioned some of your bigger influences there already, probably with Commandy and Tarzan and stuff. But where did the idea itself come from? Just kind of sprung out of no.
I'd been wanting to kind of write one of those kind of books anyways, and then I had the idea about the Bermuda Triangle, and I'm a guy that titles usually come to me last, and this was one where I got the title. It's like, wow, that's a really good title, name the character, and it's one of those things where you think about it, it almost explains the book. You got the Bermuda Triangle and a girl named Bermuda. That's no,
it's genius. It's like it's a very simple high concept. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey John, on a non-IDW topic, so you just relaunched a new Chew series, right?
Well, we're like everything else, it's we're moving on it, and I don't know when exactly it's coming out. It was solicited for June, and who knows these days. The artist is still working. The original Chew series takes place with a bird flu killing everybody, and this is a prequel set in the bird flu where people are dropping dead from a pandemic. And I don't know. I'm a little worried about the timing of it. We don't know when it's going to come out, and I might delay it further just for sensitivity reasons.
Yeah, of course. So I just got a text from Nick, and he's having trouble loading the page. So thanks anyway, Nick.
Catch next time.
But well, cool.
Well, I'm glad you guys caught me today, because we actually have we're order of groceries and stuff coming, and I'm in the quarantine. I reached the quarantine mode where I'm going to dye my hair a fluorescent green tonight. So had we done this tomorrow, I'd look like a Martian.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see that.
I've got nothing better to do. I'm trying to talk my kid into doing it, but he's it's not like anyone's going to see him. Anytime to dye your hair, this is it.
Sure. Although you do have something to do. You owe me the script for number 3.
I do. Yes.
That's all right. Don't worry. It's okay. We have a little bit of time now.
Well, I know the story, so that puts me up on some other scripts.
Oh yeah. No, you're a very careful, meticulous writer. And so.
I know you already talked about this, but tell me about this Martini edition. Is it the follow-up to the first?
Yeah, it's called Martini Edition Last Call, and it will have the third and fourth graphic novels, as well as about 150 illustrations by Darwin, just sketches and drawings. Yep. And then I already told you about the new story by Ed and Sean.
So it's Sleigh Ground, and what was the third? Sleigh Ground was the fourth.
The Score.
Score, that's right. Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, that's a real good one. I like that one quite a bit. But the new story is a Grofeld story, and and Sean's designing the book, and he's so damn good.
Are you guys? It's just going to be a companion to the first one. You're not going to reprint the first one, are you? First
one actually either is about to be reprinted or it has been reprinted. But
good. Yeah, nothing worse than putting a second edition out if the first one's not available. So that's a good thing.
First one's been out of print for literally years. So, but Darwin was such a perfectionist. He wanted that book to be, an oversized 9 by 13 inch book with a slipcase, and it's a very expensive book to print. So we haven't reprinted it very often, but we're doing it now as a companion piece. So anyone who hasn't, who never did buy the first one, now they have the opportunity to buy that as well as the new one.
Those books are masterpieces.
Darwin was the best. He was the best.
No argument there.
I've been cleaning out my garage over the last week or so, and just coming across a bunch of stuff and a lot of Darwin stuff too. So,
Yeah.
oh well.
That's where the Jim Lee with the camel photo shows up as the garage cleaning.
We just talked about that.
Yeah. And some other stuff. And I've been putting stuff on Twitter, just showing off a few old photos and a few old, oddball things. So it's fun.
Yeah, I think I have some photos from that. I'd have to dig them up, but I'm pretty sure there's some pictures of us. And I recall you were wearing like a white tux to that, weren't you?
So was Jim, and weren't you?
What's that?
Yeah, Jim was wearing a white tux also. You weren't?
No, I was a sultan, and
oh,
Jim
that's
was
right.
a belly
I
dancer.
remember that. Yeah.
It's an easy mistake.
Any excuse to wear a Halloween costume.
That was a great party. That really
Yes, it
was. Well, John, I guess we'll let you get going, get to dyeing your hair. And
All right. Yeah. Next time we do this, I'll look like a rainbow.
All right. Say hi to Kim and take care.
All right. See you guys.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
John Layman, everybody.
All right.
Bermuda, it looks like that's going to be out around next spring, early next spring, I would say. But like Scott said, that'll give them time to have it all in the can.
For the last thing on the agenda of things to show, we have the long missing Batman Maxx series, and as you can see, you have Sam sitting there drawing, and Batman and Maxx are waiting patiently. And Maxx says, "Is Sam done with issues 4 and 5 yet?" And Batman says, "That's what I hear. More tea." This will actually be the cover of a 3-issue collection. If any of you might remember League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, when it came out, there was a long gap between issues, and we did something called the bumper compendiums. And this is in essence the same thing. It'll have issues 1, 2, and 3 at a bargain price, and it'll be coming out right before issues 4 and 5, which are completely done, all completely drawn, being colored right now, and gorgeous art. You'll see here this page is partially colored. That's actually colored on the art boards by Sam. Tremendous talent. And obviously you can see there are some nice guest stars in the last couple of issues. As you see, it's the Joker and Riddler and Harley Quinn. And I think.
Awesome. I love Sam. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but it's finally coming out. And what we're planning on doing is we're going to release, as I said, the I think it's called the Lost Year Compendium, and then 2 weeks after that, issue 4, and 2 weeks after that, issue 5. And the nice thing about it is, I mean, Sam definitely was late on this book, but the artwork is gorgeous, phenomenal stuff. He really he hasn't lost a step. If anything, I think this harkens back to some of his more beloved work.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what do we think, Scott? Are we wrapping it up?
I guess so. So what are you doing for the rest of the day, Dirk? You gonna hang out and go home and
God,
your wife and kids? And
I'm gonna go answer a few emails.
yeah.
Get caught up, hang out with the wife and kids. You got it. I'm going to go out and support my local comic book shop as soon as I get the opportunity. That's one thing I'm going to do. That's what all of you should do too.
That's true. And we just went to our local shop and did curbside delivery for a gift certificate for Sam's birthday, because he loves comics. He loves Magic the Gathering. So, and that's a local store in San Marcos called Nowhere Comics and Games.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, good shop.
I know those guys.
But everybody really should, support their local comic shops, especially the way things are going now.
Yeah, Yeah, we'll get out of this mess, but in the meantime, do what you can. Look up your local store if they're doing curbside, if they're doing delivery, give them a call.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. Be
Thank
safe.
you very much, Derek. Take care of yourself, buddy, and I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you all at the real WonderCon. Not that this isn't real, but the real WonderCon and Comic-Con next year too.
This is the Unreal WonderCon.
Unreal. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Scott.
All right. Take care, pal.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.